Hello again, rail fans. You know, if you're like me, your fascination with this hobby started out with a love of the coolest locomotives, the fastest trains, the longest ones, stuff like that. But over time, I've kind of evolved. I'm now interested in the business side of railroading. What kind of companies still use rail, why they do, the shippers, the receivers, the first and the last miles of the trip. That was my goal recently when I went out rail fanning one day, but didn't want to go too far from home, so I concentrated on the locals, the pickup and delivery folks of railroading. Today I'm on the ex-Atlantic Coastline Sarasota branch from Tampa to Sarasota. The former Tampa Southern, in later years the ZA line, after the SCL merger the AZA line. Business on this route has come and gone and come back over the years. Right now, things seem to be on the upswing. Here at the St. Paul Street crossing is yard job Y101 coming out of Yeoman Yard. As is the trend in recent years, the locomotive is turned long hood forward, presumably to make switching the cars easier. The engineer will be facing the train consist as he pushes and pulls and spots the cars for each customer. That square white car right behind the engine is an extended height rotary dump flip-top gondola, built specifically for carrying finished DAP phosphate from Bone Valley plants to Rockport Terminal in Tampa. It must be a spacer car on this train because these have largely been out of service for several years now. Behind the flip-top are aggregate cars for Cemex, one bulkhead flat with sheet steel for someone, and then a cut of liquid petroleum gas tanks. Y101 is doing a classic pull-by and back in. Rockport is on the stem of a Y, allowing trains from either direction to go into the yard here head first. Ironically, the move most often done here these days is a pull-by and back in. Y101 pulls his whole train down past the next signal, which governs the switch on the south leg of the Y. Once he clears the circuit there, a sequence stacked in by the dispatcher will automatically reverse the switch and the train will back in around the south leg.
10 more, 26.
In less than a minute, I sashayed around to the 50th Street crossing. This is where the stem of the Y crosses before entering Rockport Yard.
5 more looking.
In the 1990s and for about 10 years after that, this was one busy railroad yard.
4.
6 road switchers departing every morning, and those 6 came back every evening, plus shuttle jobs from 3 local phosphate plants. A 24/7 operation.
Here, 1.
This crossing of US 41 used to happen around 30 times a day.
No rush. Anywhere there is good.
I doubt if all the new drivers in southern Hillsborough County would put up with that these days. The tracks at Rockport Yard are pretty much confined to storing cars not currently needed in freight service. I did a video back in 1995 which I tried to cover the Bone Valley business. It's here on YouTube if you want to check it out. This is a port job, a dead end by the waterfront, so the engine has to shove everything into its parking place. Otherwise, he'd be stuck in there with cars blocking his way back out. The east lead serves both sides of the Port Sutton docks.
12 more in the crossing, 12.
I'd like to show you Y101 spotting cars at the dock, but port security folks are not keen on letting unidentified guys with video cameras roam the area unsupervised. So I broke off here.
Another 8 of them. 26.
I was orbiting the Yeoman Yard area afterward and heard an outbound job on the radio.
All right, I'm ready. Go ahead with that job briefing over.
Yeah, the car crews while he's on duty at
1050, pulling to number 77186. Got 2 engines, 7104 in the lead, and the 3117 second out. Plenty of power.
This is B796. Not a local delivering cars to customers, but what the heck. You take what you can find, right? 796 is ethanol empties departing Tampa for Linden, Indiana, via Birmingham and Evansville. Because the long train was in 2 yard tracks, the outbound crew had to put the 2 halves back together in a maneuver called doubling. This makes the train far longer than the train yard and way too far for the conductor, way back there connecting the cars, to walk all the way back up to the engine when it's all solid. Because track access is limited here, the conductor must get a ride up to the head end, and the engineer must pull up to some place the yard bus can access. The nearest level crossing, Falkenberg Road, 2.3 miles out of the yard. This routine is done several times a day here in Tampa. When B796 cleared the yard and got out of town, I heard a local farther out on the S-line. That was the Plant City local that works the S-line side in the Valrico siding to let B796 pass him going northbound. The local would be here soon. I got caught in a little Bradenton traffic, so when I got back around to 78th Street and the north end of the yard, L779, the local, was just coming up. He was working a customer up there at the top of the hill. I ran around to a spot where I could see him switching. I recognized the voice immediately.
3, 2, 1 more. Good. 3 steps.
It was conductor John Pozlusny, a regular on the Plant City local. They were stopped on the main line, working a distribution company just outside of the yard. The job specified to spot 5 boxcars individually in front of 5 doors on the warehouse. Conductor John was counting each move down to the foot.
15 foot. 10 foot. 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good.
Each car had to be spotted separately, uncoupled, and handbrake set. Notice even though the locomotive is pulling the consist forward, John is calling for him to back up each time.
6510, release that 3-step back bag all the way out.
Because the engine is turned backwards from the train cars, the engineer is actually in reverse as he pulls the consist forward. After the train gets back on the main, John resets the derail and advises the engineer.
Derail restored, M&W.
5 boxcars now ready for unloading at the customer's door. Now L779 returns to the remainder of his train and couples up.
Under 4. Clear, 1 more. Half car. 15 feet. 10 foot. 5 foot. And good. Clear the stretch.
Conductor John calls for 3-step protection. Climbs up to release the handbrake ratchet. then climbs down and reconnects the air brake line and opens the train line air valve. Then they're on into Yeoman Yard, which is only about 600 feet away. When I set out early this morning, I intended to catch L700, the local to Bradenton, but for some reason he didn't get out of Tampa until around 1400. I managed to set up for him at the old US 41A crossing. Now here's something you don't see every day. This is L700 running the Bradenton line with a GE wide cab locomotive leading, backwards. The 7509 is one of the Wabtec converted AC-44 CWs rebuilt to run biodiesel fuel. It's now designated a CM44AC. Because it has no ditch lights on the rear end, the engineer must slow down to 20 miles an hour over highway crossings. He's running about that speed as he approaches the Alafia River Turnkey Bridge just to our south. Lunch today was at Mission Barbecue in Brandon. If you have one of these in your town, I recommend it. It's a chain founded in 2011 in Glen Burnie, Maryland, by two guys who believe strongly in patriotism and good barbecue. I don't know where they get these old soft drinks in glass bottles. I almost picked up a frosty root beer, but Dad decided at the last second on iced tea instead. The decor in these places heavily honors military and first responders. Every day at noon, everything stops when they play the national anthem in the dining room. I was too early for that today. Pick up your order at the counter and get your own sauces and seasonings. I love that they have real pepper sauce. That's Tabasco peppers and vinegar. Goes great on black-eyed peas and butter beans. I wish they had those. I ate it in the front seat so I could listen to the train radio. This is a pulled pork sandwich XL combo with baked beans and unsweetened iced tea. All of it delicious. I added a little of their Memphis Belle barbecue sauce to the sandwich, another military reference. If you don't know about the Memphis Belle, Google it, and you'll learn what real heroes were in World War II. Lunch was $14.89 out the door. A shout out today to Jordy Holcomb. He's a Tampa fan of the channel. While I was shooting that ethanol train, Jordy drove by on Falkenberg Road and swung around, got out of his car just to say hi. Much appreciated. Very glad to meet you, Jordy. Hope we catch up with each other again. Now, please write your comments in the comments section down below. I read them all and try to reply to as many as I can. I really appreciate all your comments on my Western trip that we took in September. Very helpful and very insightful as to places that I really need to go next time. Hit that like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. Share this video with your friends. That is a huge help. And let's make plans to meet up again soon, somewhere out there on the high iron. And until we do, this is Danny Harmon, out.